Hi guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Today we are going to look at my budget for I guess this would be technically the second week of January. So for January 6th, and we're going to start by doing a quick overview of how my budget ended for the first week, which was December 30th. Okay, so before we get into that, I just want to highlight a couple of updates to my budget planner. I have made some visual changes and some structural changes because this budget planner, she's a big girl, okay? And so I was struggling to change pages and flip the pages. I just had a lot in here, and I still have a lot in here, if I'm being honest with you. And so I went in and I actually took out all of my extra pages, just like overflow pages that I had, like duplicates of my trackers and stuff like that. I didn't need to keep that in here. And then also I changed out the rings. I put slightly bigger rings. These are not Happy Planner rings. I just got these from Amazon, but they're slightly bigger. I think these might be 1.5 inches. And I also updated my dividers just to give it a fresh look for 2025 and replace the cover. So yeah, you'll notice those changes. Again, apologize about the lighting. I've been struggling a lot with, well, I always struggle with lighting, let's be real. But yeah, this overcast, snowy, wintry days have been kind of tough to film in. So yeah, let's see what we can do. I might have to do some editing post video. Okay, so where am I? Yeah, let's look at December 30th. Okay, so I closed out December 30th. You know, I said I had a New Year's Eve vacation, which was great. So I had a lot of travel expenses. I had to put in an extra page to wrap up my expenses for the week. So I did that, but overall it ended up being a pretty good week. I was able to pay all the bills. I did not go over on eating out like I thought I would, even though I was traveling. I did go over on groceries a little bit, but that's about it. The big thing for last week that I want to point out is that I am now actively using my categories. I have been talking about that for a few weeks now, that I kind of did a test run at the end of 2024. And so in 2025, I now am using the categories actively. I know which categories I am going to use. I went in and listed all my categories, determined what highlighter I was going to use, and yeah, so you will be noticing that as the weeks go on. So for the week of December 30th, though, since I am using categories, I went ahead and updated all of my categories, and then at the end of the month I have my monthly category tracker. So this allows me to go in for each week and do totals for all of my categories for that week. That way at the end of the month, it's really easy just to get a monthly total that I can then transfer to my annual. So this is what my category breakdown looks like for the first week of January, which was December 30th. All right, so now we are going to go to January 6th. And as you can tell, I'm still struggling a little bit with moving these pages around on these rings. So I may end up changing out these rings once again. I'm just trying to manage the bulk and size of this planner, but that's for another day. Okay, I've already started to track some of my expenses for this week. I don't anticipate having a ton of expenses so far. I just have a couple of entertainment expenses because I bought some ebooks. My categories, my key categories for this week are grocery. I have a $50 budget for that. Nothing in personal, nothing in transportation, nothing really, or $20 for eating out. And I went ahead and put my book entries that I bought under entertainment. So I have a couple of bills scheduled to come out this week, and I have a light meal plan. It should be a pretty light week for me this week, and I am looking forward to that. Let me just take a minute and talk about moving forward in 2025. So I've finished setting up my annual section for 2025. I'm really excited about that. I mentioned that I set up all my categories, but what I also did is that I took some time to reflect on the approach that I was using for a couple of my categories specifically. One of them being my business category. I spoke about that in the other video, so I won't rehash that. But I did get a chance to go ahead and set up that account so that now I can work toward tracking those business expenses in a more efficient way. That will take about a few weeks, a month probably, to get everything set up. So you'll still see some business expenses come out, but hopefully by the time the end of February is here, I'll have that all in place and moving money around the way I'm supposed to be for my business expenses. But I was able to get that account set up and labeled with my bank. So that's good to go. What else? I also reflected on how I use my sinking funds for a couple of my challenges. So, I'm cashless. This is a cashless budget system that I use, which basically means, see how I'm struggling to change these pages around? That's going to drive me nuts. But that basically means that I list all of my sinking and challenge activities on one page in my planner. This is kind of my worksheet for the year. These are things that I hope to start doing during the year. As I start the activity, I move it over to my sinking and challenge envelope sheet. So these are the savings, sinking funds, challenges that are currently active, meaning I'm currently trying to save for them. Obviously, some of them have money in the accounts and some of them don't. But these are the ones that I am currently working on. And so I moved them to this sheet. This system has worked great for me in 2024. I'm looking forward to it continuing to work in 2025. But what I did find is that when it came to certain sinking funds, I needed a place to track the movement of money before making a certain payment. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. One of my challenges is an auto pay down challenge. See, that's one of my challenges for the year. So I have that tracked because I've already kind of started that. But this is the thing. When you have an auto loan, right, you have a monthly payment. So you pay your monthly payment. Most people, when they do auto loan pay downs, I'm not gonna say most people, but there are a couple ways you can do it. You can make like extra payments per month. You could just save up money and make a lump sum payment to reduce your balance on your auto loan. There are different ways. So I am probably going to do a combination of those methods, right? But the reality is, because this is real life budgeting, right? This is not just YouTube budgeting where I tell you, oh, I made a $5,000 payment last month and that reduced my auto balance by $5,000. Well, no, ma'am. If I could do that, I probably wouldn't need as complex of a budget as I have, right? That's not how that's going to work. The way it's going to work in real life is I'm probably going to have to save $100 here, $500 there, $300 here until I get up enough money to make a lump sum payment. Or I can pay $100 when I save it. However it works, I'm going to have to save those extra payments, right? I'm not just going to magically get $5,000 in extra money. So I need to track where I'm saving those extra dollars, right? Before I make the debt pay down payment. So what I decided to do was to track the savings of those extra the extra money in a sinking funds tracker. So if you look at the back of my month of January, I have a sinking funds tracker where it just says debt pay down, and it includes all of the debt that I want to pay down for this year. And so this is a transaction log, right? So let's say this week I want to put in $100 into the sinking funds, and that's going to go toward my auto pay down. So I'll write in the date, $100 auto, and then the balance, and then I just track that. And then once it gets to a certain amount, I will take that particular amount and apply it to my debt reduction payment. So this is my debt reduction plan. So maybe February 13th, I'll make an extra payment, and then I'll list the balance of my car loan here. So that is a change to the approach for me, because I just realized I needed a place to like an in-between place, right? An interim place to store my sinking funds savings specific to debt pay down. And so this particular tracker is going to track all of my debt pay down activities for the year. So that's why the total is $15,000. And then I'll just label I'll label the amounts so that I know which amounts goes to which pay down. But yeah, that was a little bit of a different approach for me, because just as I started doing it, and I just, again, thought about the reality of the situation, I was like, I'm not just going to magically get an extra $5,000. I'm probably going to have to save it. So that means I need to track it somewhere. So that is how that works. The other ones are pretty straightforward because they're more of savings, not necessarily, so it's like a savings challenge, right? I'm not going to necessarily be putting money in and taking money out. Whereas with the sinking funds, I might have to take money out for certain things because emergencies happen, guys. Again, we're talking real life here. Not just a video, but real life. So some things need to have the ability to track deposits and withdrawals. It's not all visual. So yeah, but that I spent maybe a couple of hours trying to just kind of figure out how I wanted to approach that as I was preparing my budget for January. And I'm really excited. I think that's going to work well. But yeah, other than that, that is how it's all set up. We are in the second week of January. The first week went really well. I have put in the back of my month. This is where I keep all of my active trackers and challenges. So they will just go from month to month. So I have my sinking funds tracker, my $1,000 challenge tracker. Again, this is a visual, right? Because this $1,000 challenge is for the credit pay down, which is something I'm going to be saving in my sinking funds tracker. And so this is the tracker is going to track my deposits and withdrawals for that particular fund. This is the visual of that. This is the fun piece. This is what people typically show on YouTube. And I like doing these too because it gives me motivation. But I need more than the visual. I need the support behind the visual. And so that's where the actual tracker comes into play for sinking funds. My cash envelope digital versions. Cash envelopes are basically sinking funds, guys. So I don't need to include that on my sinking funds tracker because this is pretty much a sinking funds visual. my debt reduction plan. So this is just my debt payments that I will make. My emergency fund tracker is here. This one, I don't think I included that in my sinking funds because this one is going to be more of once I put money into that account, I'm not taking money out. So this isn't going to be deposits and withdrawals. So I'm okay with just keeping a visual here. Same with my annual savings as far as the sinking funds visual. This is a part of that because saving $15,000 is going to be a challenge. I can't say there's not going to be times in the upcoming month or in the upcoming year where I don't need to use those annual savings. So I have the visual here, but I'm also going to keep track of it on my sinking funds tracker. That way, if I need to do withdrawals, I can reflect that. So, okay, that is January, you guys. Thanks so much for sticking with me and for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, leave a comment, reach out to me. All tools and materials that I use are linked down below. Thanks. Have a good day.